our goal with these is, we do believe that if we want to build trust with communities, if we want communities to have a better relationship with news organizations, with journalists, that these strategies that we teach that are based in transparency, based in engagement, based in having understanding of what the news consumption experience is like, knowing how to be humble and having that humility, knowing who you are and how you're different than the audience. All of these things we really do believe are going to make journalism better. It's going to make consuming information better for the consumer. It's going to make it more useful. And so in order to get more journalists doing this, we thought we need students to be learning this kind of right from the beginning. We've taught some educators through several Educator 101s classes, which I know a couple of you here have participated in. And so this was kind of the next step of bringing that into the classroom. And so our goal is really for these to be used, whether it's a piece of it as I go through this, if it's an in-class assignment or it's one kind of activity you want to use, that is fine with us. We've developed it so it can be used kind of packaged and maybe fit into your curriculum, but it doesn't have to. If you use a piece of it, that's kind of our goal. And we really want to see, how do students respond? Does this help them do some of this work? Does it help have some of these conversations? The other thing that I would say is it is really important to us that these are designed for journalism classes and journalism students, but also we really wanted to take a step back so they also could be implemented in PR classes, media literacy classes. At the end of the day, the way people consume information has changed. It's probably going to keep changing. And so when we're preparing students for what that looks like, that may not be a traditional newsroom. Maybe they want to go work for a foundation. And I know I had a student that really, really is passionate about the environment and wants to go work for the Surfrider Foundation. Well, they share valuable information. Yes, they have an agenda, but they are sharing valuable information. And so our goal is that these strategies can also help students like that and can be important for students to learn more about news, but also implement in whatever career it is, whether it's in a newsroom, working for city government, working in PR. And so with that, I am just going to share my screen and I'm going to walk us through the 4 kits. And then I'm just going to open it up to questions. So, okay, I'm on the kit. I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, so the first kit that we have, and again, the kits do not have to be used in this order, but this first kit that we created, I think is probably one of the kits that is that has the broadest appeal when it comes to what type of student you might be able to, might benefit from this and what type of class you might be able to use this in. And that kit is how students can talk about journalism in the media. And our goal was to do a couple different things, but one is to empower people to better understand news and the media, but also for those that are sharing information, how do you respond when people talk about or accuse you of doing fake news? Or they have to talk to parents who say, or family, you're going into news? Oh, no one does that anymore. You won't make any money, right? So feel comfortable talking about being a journalist and explaining the media. And so the other thing I will say about this kit, this is sort of, we look at kind of the intro version on this topic. We then have a more advanced version about how to earn trust with sources. So, and I'll talk about that in a second, but we paired these two together because this one's more broad, kind of could be used in more media literacy classes, more comms classes, versus the next kit I'll talk about is how to earn trust with your sources, people you're talking to for your journalism. And so we linked those here so that they're easy to go back and forth with. Each kit has a set of learning objectives, so things that we hope after, if you use any of the content, that the students will learn. We also took time to create basically sample agendas for a 50-minute class and a 90-minute class. And the idea is, how could you, if this is a topic you want to talk about, and you have a 50-minute class, here's what it could look like to use this in your class. We talk about in this like how you could assign students to read something before class and then maybe have class discussion. You also could watch or use some of the materials in class, like some of the slideshows. And then all of them also have an in-class activity and suggestions for possible assignments. And so this is all just suggestions, and primarily these agendas have been based off of a list of teaching materials. And so how we've divided this up is materials that we think would be useful to either assign to students to read, have students go over in class, and some of them are written materials, some of them are videos, some of them are also slideshows that you could use in the classroom. And then for each, we have something that we called expert materials. This part was developed so that if you, as the instructor, want to dive deeper, there's links to how you might be able to dive deeper into the topic. You could absolutely share this with students as well, but some of it gets a little long, kind of longer case studies or dives deep into data. So it's kind of up to you how deep you'd want to share some of this. Then probably my favorite part of this is we have developed both in-class activities and assignments. And so the in-class activities are designed to be done in class. Now, what's great about these, they also could be adapted into assignments if you wanted to. Or with some of these, I'm imagining if you use like an online, which I'm sure all of you do, kind of an online platform and you want them to have discussion boards or something. Some of these might serve that purpose as well. With the assignments, we also have created grading rubrics for each of these assignments. And so what we've done is the assignment is here in the kit, but if you click on the link that's there, it allows you to make a copy of the assignment. So you now have your own copy of the assignment. If you wanted to share it online, share it with your students, have them make a copy. So we tried to make it easy so that these could be used by you easily, and then also kind of duplicated. So that's an example, that's that kit. I'm going to talk through briefly just the other 3 kits and what kind of the goals of them are. And then I know I see one question possibly in the chat, but then I want to hear from you. So as I said, the next kit is sort of an advanced version of the kit we just talked about. The idea here is if students already have the idea about what journalism is, how to talk about it, how to share the importance of news. Now, if they're working in a newsroom or they're contacting people for stories, this next kit talks about how you can earn trust with those sources specifically. It focuses a lot on this whole idea that, sharing information about others is a privilege, and helping students understand how to approach people who may not understand how news works, probably don't understand how news works. So it's this idea of that humility and the importance of that. And then again, we have 50-minute class agendas and 90-minute class agendas, and then additional in-class activities and assignments. And a lot of these assignments work best if the student is currently practicing journalism. Maybe that's with their own story for your class. Maybe that is in a student newsroom, or it's in another newsroom where they might be creating content, whether that's radio, TV, or print and online. The next kit and kind of subject matter, again, there are 2 more, and they kind of, again, build off of one another. So this one is the more basic version, and it's based in how engagement and listening can build trust. So this would, again, could be used for comm students. It could be used for PR. The idea that journalists, people sharing information, better serve their community by listening and then responding to their audience. I do think this one could also be used very broadly because, again, this kind of basic principle, we're going to better serve our audience if we know who they are, if we know what they know and what they don't, if we know what problems they're facing, what problems they're not. And so it introduces this idea and the importance of this idea. And then again, 2 in-class activities and 2 assignments. And so that's kind of the intro level of listening engagement. Then the next step is how to respond to users and listen to your community. So this would be kind of that advanced version or the step up from that previous kit. The goal being, okay, we have students who understand it's important to listen. Now let's have them practice. That's really what this is all about. Whether it's with their own audience or with some of these assignments, it's letting them actually look at content from other news organizations and practice responding that way. So again, this kit is probably a lot of the assignments best used for students who are practicing journalism, practicing sharing information, but can also be adapted to learn some of these skills with using other news content or other information that's out there to practice some of these skills.